Hello and welcome to another episode of the Uncommon Energy Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about some updates to the season structure because the brand new season is in full swing. We've got the first few regionals coming up very, very soon. Talk about a couple of updates that came out the last couple weeks. We will talk about some of the new products releasing later on this year and some pretty incredible ones. Very nice work, Pokemon Company International, on this one. We will also, of course, have everyone's favorite segment, Guess That Flavor Text. And then we're going to wrap up this week by talking about the early Stellar Crown meta, the decks that have been winning some smaller tournaments over in Japan. What are some of the things that we should expect to be seeing success once Stellar Crown comes out in just a couple of weeks? And it really is right around the corner, same weekend as Baltimore Regionals. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this episode. My name is Chip Ritchie, joined here as always by my friend and co-host Azul GG. What's up, Azul? How we doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, we're gonna look at the. It kind of actually crossed my mind because we looked at them just a little bit before we started recording. It's gonna be early Stellar Crown, but also early Surging Sparks because they already got access to some of the cards that we're gonna be getting in Surging Sparks, and they're already playing with them over there in Japan. So we're 2 sets behind. It's never felt like we've been 2 sets behind before. This feels like
Well, it's
extraordinary.
because it's like the first half of what will be Surging Sparks, right? Is out over there.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
because
other
it's like
half is
Surging Sparks. Sometimes we get sets that are two in Japan, they'll release like two sets at the same time sometimes
it's
that are
weird.
like correlating with one another, like Ancient and Future or whatever it is. Like Paldea Evolved did something similar. Where there was like two sets at the exact same time, and then sometimes it'll just be a mini set and then another mini set. And our sets will usually either be one of the two things, a combination of the two sets that came out at the same time or two mini sets in back to back order or whatever.
Yeah, because their set Supercharged Burger comes out October 18th, it looks like, and then we get it November 8th. So 3 weeks after,
Getting closer
kind of.
again.
But yeah, this week I did a not like I said, a little bit of an impromptu show match between Ian and Jesse Parker. Ian Rob and Jesse Parker, who would have played against each other in top 8 or top 4 of the world championships if Ian didn't have his moment on stage. And they actually reached out to me and asked me if I want to, stream it, put it on. So that was fun to do. Did that
Oh,
over
I
the
didn't
weekend.
realize that they like were the ones that set it up, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. I should have been on the ball with it myself, to be honest, and reached out to them, but the thought didn't really cross my mind in the moment. But I was happy to put it on. It was a fun match to kind of put on, showcase a little bit of what could have happened. Um, some other people have asked me to do Ian now versus Sanosuke. Is that how you say it, right?
Sainosuke.
Yeah, okay. I want to make sure I got it right. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I just thought this one was cool and interesting, and the players that came to me to want to do it, so I was like, yeah, I'm down to do it. So that was fun to do. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna tell you who won if you haven't seen it or heard about this at all yet, and you want to go watch it. It's on my YouTube
You
channel.
just did spoil it.
Oh, I did, yeah. Well, oh well, too late. I didn't realize. Yeah, my thought process was not to spoil it, and then I did spoil it.
You said it so fast, maybe someone didn't realize. It's okay.
Yeah, don't go back, don't rewind.
Yeah.
Jeez, that was a brain fart there. But yeah, besides that, dude, I was having some internet troubles earlier in the week. The internet is supposed to be fixed, but it was supposed to be fixed the last time,
Mhm.
and then it was kind of funny actually. Today, um, today after I got done streaming, I did a shorter stream today, and then I went to the kitchen to go get some food. And everyone who was in the house at the time was in the kitchen. No one was on the internet. And then when I got back to my desk, PTCG Live said I had disconnected and needed to reconnect. And I was like, did I lose internet or was it just PTCG Live? And I couldn't confirm with anyone else in the house because we were all in the kitchen at the same time
Mm.
when the internet went out. So I don't know if the internet went out or if it was just my computer or if it was just PTCG Live. So I'm hoping the internet is not still having problems because it was kind of consistently disconnecting mid late afternoon, once a day. So hopefully that's not a problem anymore. But that's kind of frustrating towards the end of last week. So I haven't been streaming that much actually since I've gotten back from Worlds, but now I'm kind of finally starting to be consistent with it again. and like uploading to YouTube and all that. But yeah, that was my week. Unfortunate internet troubles, and then was able to do the cool show match over the weekend. What about you, Chip? What were you up to?
Yeah, I went and spent some time at my parents this weekend for the long Labor Day weekend. Ended up going to a midnight pre-release for Stellar Crown on Friday night slash, midnight, 12 a.m. Saturday morning, which was fun. I've never done a midnight pre-release. I know there are some stores in the country that like do them pretty regularly. It seems like kind of a cool event. And there was like 30 people there at this store that I'd only been to one other time before. It's not super close to where I live, but it's closer to where my parents live. So that's why I was able to go. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I ended up they gave you like uh your bundle at the beginning, and then you had to play the tournament, and then depending on how well you did in the tournament, they actually gave you more or less packs. Like there was actually something on the line, which was kind of fun. Sometimes you'll play through the tournament and it doesn't mean anything, and they just give everyone 3 packs at the end, which is like a fine way to do it, I think. But got myself 11 packs of the new sets and pulled no Terrapagos EX, the only thing I really wanted.
That's like that really is like the only card, to be honest. There's
I
like
mean, there's some good trainers and stuff, which I did get a few of, which is nice. But
yeah. I did my
as far as
like
the EXs, yeah.
set review slash buy list video
Yeah.
um earlier this week for Stellar Crown. And when I was going through it, I didn't realize how bad the set was. Because it looks like the meta gets shaken up a little bit from the results we've seen from Japan so far. But it really is just Area Zero kind of carrying the set. And I guess Terrapagos is there. Like Terrapagos is there,
It's
but it
pretty
really is
good, yeah.
like Area Zero is kind of carrying the set. So this is like it's not going to be. We'll see how impactful the set actually is, but it's going to be boring, a little boring in terms of they're just like new decks. Like Palkia is coming back, and like I don't know, maybe Zorak V-Star could be good, but like Dragapult's getting a big buff. But these are like all decks that have been good for a while. We're not getting like a brand new tier 1 deck, it feels like.
These were the cards I pulled from my packs that came in my little booster bundle. And if that Melmetal EX had been a Terrapagos, I would have been unstoppable. 2 Area Zero, 2 Glass Trumpet, 1 Sparkling Crystal, and then my EX was a Melmetal EX. And guess what? I did not pull a Meltan. So I ended up literally just adding like 2 or 3 cards to the pre-constructed deck that they give you, which I feel like the last few times I've been to a pre-release, that's what I've ended up doing, which always feels like a little bit of a bummer. I really would like it, if the set had more to add into your deck. I think I added like 1 trainer that I pulled and then 1 evolution line or something like that. Um, but it is definitely better than the days. I remember pre-releases when they literally used to just give you 7 or 8 packs and you had to work with what you opened from
Yeah.
those packs. Granted, it was like a little more likely you would get something that worked together because the sets were like 100 cards, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays sets are, 150 cards minimum usually.
It was a lot harder to overcome. Like back then, it was a lot harder to overcome like a solo EX or something like
Yeah.
that sometimes. Like I remember one pre-release back in the day, I pulled a Mewtwo EX, and that was
Yeah.
my deck. It was one Mewtwo EX.
I did that once with
Uh,
the Ho-Oh EX from Breakpoint. I pulled the one Ho-Oh EX, and that was that and 39 energy. This was my deck.
and you
I,
heal 50 with a fire? Oh
I
my
know it
gosh.
was so broken.
Yeah, it can get a
Um,
little ridiculous. But yeah, the new pre-releases are cool. I gotta make my way out to one, to be honest. 'Cause I actually I've only ever done one of the new build and battle since they've had build and battles.
yeah,
The starter things. I've only ever done one, but it was pretty enjoyable, to be honest, compared to
yeah.
what it used to be.
It's definitely better than what it used to be, but it just definitely still feels. It just doesn't feel. It just feels like a bummer whenever you don't get anything out of your packs to add to your deck, and then you just like, I'm
Yeah.
just playing with the 40 card deck they gave me, which is, it is what it is. I went
Definitely.
like there was 30 people there. I went 3-1 and got 11 packs, like I said, so it wasn't too bad. And yeah, got my hands on some of the new cards early. I did pull the cool full art Bulbasaur,
Okay.
which was nice. So yeah, pretty sweet. One of the people behind me opened up their kit and they got the like Rainbow Stellar Terrapagos card. That's like the probably going to be the most desirable card in the set. That was pretty cool to see. The new Stellar cards look really cool IRL as well. So yeah, it got me excited for the new set. But yeah, like you said, it really is Area Zero Underground is just a pretty insane card, and it's like a meta warping card, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it changes up stuff enough that it's still enjoyable. But yeah, it's like Palkia has been the BDIF before. I don't know if Palkia is going to be the BDIF from the results I've seen from Japan recently. It seems like Palkia has completely fallen off. Um, but we'll have to wait and see for sure. Like, and that's like I don't know. It's like another thing. Like we mentioned it earlier that when we're gonna look at some Stellar Crown decks later, but we'll also be looking at some half Surging Sparks decks later. We just get to play less Pokemon. I bring this up all the time. I was actually gonna mention this as well, I guess. Well, maybe I'll mention it when we talk about like the season structure. Actually, it's
Yeah,
the first thing we can bring up is we're gonna be discontinuing our Patreon over there, but we're gonna be bringing all the bonus episodes over to YouTube with YouTube memberships moving forward.
yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, you should now see option to join memberships, and starting at for the remainder of this month, I think is what we decided, right? For September,
Yeah.
we're gonna continue to upload everything on Patreon and on YouTube, the bonus episodes, but then we're going to just move away from Patreon and go just to YouTube. We thought it would probably just be a little bit easier to manage it like that, keep everything in one place, not sending people from YouTube over to Patreon for the bonus episode each week. It's like once you finish the Patreon episode or the regular episode, you don't have to go anywhere else to get the bonus episode. So that's what we're going to do. Move it over here to the YouTube memberships. They've got a pretty good system here. But yeah, if you are currently a Patreon supporter, don't worry. Everything is going to be the same through the end of this month. And then at the end of the month, we're going to make sure we removed everything. I actually went ahead and paused billing for this month as well on the Patreon. So you won't get billed for this month as well. And yeah, it's going to move over here to YouTube. And I probably will. I guess I could. I don't know if I will or not. If people are interested, I could like upload the old bonus episodes as well to the YouTube. I guess I would have the availability or the ability, not availability, the ability to do that if people want to see some of those or want to still have those posted somewhere that they can find them. So I guess let us know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. But yeah, we thought that would be just something that would be a little bit easier for us and for potential new listeners of those bonus episodes, which we do every single week. Bonus
Yeah.
episode, 30 extra minutes ish of content from us every week.
Yeah.
um
Yeah, everything will be exactly the same. We're going to upload the bonus episodes to YouTube and Patreon over this next month.
yep.
And then moving forward into October, it's just going to all be here on the YouTube channel. Everything's going to be exactly the same for the bonus episodes. So anyone who's unfamiliar with the bonus episodes, every week we will now make a community post and a Patreon post until the end of the month. And then it'll just be the community post here on YouTube where you'll be able to ask us questions or leave topic suggestions for the bonus episode. And then we will go through those every single bonus episode. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and we talk about, we take the Q&As or the topic suggestions, but then we also a lot of times on the bonus episode end up just kind of, what this intro has been the last like 12 minutes, just kind of talking about whatever's going on in our lives. A lot of times we end up talking about whatever shows or movies we've seen recently, whatever's going on in the sports worlds that we follow. Or sometimes we'll talk about like some old school Pokemon format. It's really just like a little bit more of the podcast, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, if you want to get access to that or just support us in general, you can do that now by becoming a member here on YouTube. Yeah, we appreciate the support. And yeah, the first thing we're going to talk about today,
This was definitely the coolest thing I saw this week, I would say.
yeah, for sure. Oh, I didn't even realize that Play Pokemon actually retweeted it.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, our world champion Fernando Cifuentes, as he returned home to his home country in Chile this past, I guess this was like last week, maybe week before last this happened. It just got posted about this week. He was invited to the presidential palace by the Chilean government and got a chance to meet the president, got to take a bunch of pictures. I think they actually invited everyone who made day 2 at the world championships. 10, yeah, 10 Chilean representatives who participated in the tournament. So that's pretty sweet. Cool to see that's happening. I don't know. That was I think that's like the most like real world crossover I feel like I've ever seen between Pokemon competitive TCG and like the real world, right?
Yeah, it definitely is kind of crazy to see. It's definitely unexpected, and it's really cool to see in general. Um, I feel like something similar happened. Maybe it was. I don't think it was in anything Pokemon. Maybe it was like in an esport at one point. It's kind of similar, like an esport team winning something, and then they were invited uh, to I don't know, president or whatever it was, wherever it was. But yeah, it's cool to see. I wonder, do you think that'll ever happen? Like, if we get an American to win the world championships, what are the chances that we'd be invited to the White House?
I mean, it's not like the craziest thing to think that it could happen. That does happen, like visits to the White House for whichever college football team wins the national championship, basketball team, so on and so
Yeah,
forth. Whatever NFL team wins the Super Bowl usually visits the White House. Like, I don't think it would be the craziest thing in the world for it to happen, especially with like how much bigger of a thing Pokemon has become.
yeah,
It didn't happen last year, I guess, when Vance won, but who's the last
yeah.
American world champion before Vance?
Uh,
It's been a minute, right?
is it
2018 was
Van
Robin.
Wagner? Is
Yeah,
it Jacob?
really. 2015. Yeah, because 2016 was Shintaro, 2017 was Diego, 2018 was Robin, 2019 was Henry, 2022 was Andre. Yeah, 23 was Vance. So 10
Man,
years since we had a US world champion.
I didn't even realize that, to be honest, until you like mentioned it. Wait, what is like the? Well, I mean, it's easy to like look at it on Limitless actually because it has like the little flags next to all the names. I'm curious like what it actually looks like when you like look at it. Then worlds. Who's been winning the most? Then I guess it's kind of split, right? Because before that we had 3 U.S. in a row. Before Wagner, it was like Cohen, Costa,
Well,
Jason,
at the
Estrada.
time as well, Igor was in Portugal, right?
Oh, true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So
I
that
think
one,
his
yeah.
flag is as
Well,
American
you know what?
because more recently he's been competing when he's
Robin put it
competed.
there. Robin put it there. It's one of those things where it's like, is someone gonna dig deep enough to actually bring it? I think we can take this dub for America.
Oh
Appreciate
my
your
gosh.
we appreciate your service, Igor. Getting a dub for the USA. Um no, but yeah, it is pretty split to be honest, right? Like
Yeah.
a couple European dubs, um, one for Japan.
There's multiple, and this is just back to 2011 that we see here on Limitless. I don't know
And
if you can see it.
if we're going by region too, I guess Estrada's in there. Like it is US and Canada, right? I like in my head I'm
Oh
thinking about
my
US a little
gosh.
separately,
Bro,
but
as much as you hate on the Canadians when it comes to like winning events and stuff, talking about us defending our home turf, like, and then
now
now you're trying to claim Estrada. Come
we
on,
can
bro.
claim the Strata dub as well. Let's get that in there. Actually, it's kind of stacked, like for US and Canada, like against the rest of the regions. It is pretty stacked. It's kind of one sided. You all got to pick it up. What the heck is going on here, man?
Dude, we have the largest player base by far.
Oh wait, actually, look at that though. Look at the difference in world size. I didn't even realize that. Oh no, but that's because in 2023. Oh, these are all day twos versus the full
Dude,
tournament. Okay.
you are having a hard time here, buddy.
Yeah, I was like trip. Yeah, for a second I was like, wait, what the heck? This year's world was like 5 times or 6 times bigger than every other world. But no, because the other world championships are only counting day
Mhm.
two or only had like the day two number listed there. Whereas this last year is like the whole tournament. But it's still, I'm actually curious what the actual number is then, to be honest.
Of what?
Um, like the actual like compare like day one numbers in comparison.
Of like how many people were in day one each year?
Or I guess total, like day one plus day two, like the total
Yeah. Total number of
competitors.
competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if
Makes me
that's published
curious.
anywhere actually. Oh, it looks like TCG Legends might have that. So yeah, it says 2024 day one was 1146. Yeah, which is what it says on Limitless, right? 1147. And then day 2023 day one 687. So it was almost twice as big.
Yeah. So it's and then but plus add the day two players, which was what like 64 players or something like that.
It's
The
probably
day two.
more than that, right? Because there's also the Asian country day two competitors.
True. So maybe take like a yeah, I don't even know, maybe 70 or something like that. So it's like 750.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's still like a 50% increase. And well, I guess we could. Well, I mean, we basically already know the numbers for next year's Worlds because it's top X. The only thing is like,
True. How many
um,
additional invites will be awarded to TPC regions? How many additional invites will be awarded to people who just win a world championships or a regional championships or internationals, right? Get second, first or
well, no,
second.
they're excluded. That's what I'm saying. So we can basically kind of count it up. It was just people who win multiple majors. Like if you win a major and you're in top 125, you're excluded from the top 125.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So you can
oh,
basically
okay, so you
count it
can
out.
count
That's
the
what I'm
number of
saying.
major okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I actually didn't realize that it worked like that. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of which, this is actually a decent transition into what we're gonna be talking about first up here, and that is the championship series update that was released, just a couple of changes. Um, but yeah, I guess that is true. So like 125 Masters for US and Canada, and then you would add however many regionals we end up having to that number, right?
Yep.
But I
Yeah.
guess, those regionals might be won by people who are not from US and Canada, right? So that's a
They're
factor as well.
but they're at least probably gonna be from a TPCI region, like, highly likely, right?
Well,
So
I
they would
also saw
still.
something too. I think did we talk about this? I don't remember if we talked about this or not.
Yeah, we
But
did.
yeah,
I know what you're
even
gonna
if
say.
you're not from a TPCI region, so players from like Korea, Japan, China, wherever, um, Malaysia, like any of those Asian countries or regions that compete in a international or regional championship and win the tournament or at internationals gets first or second, um, get an invite, right? Which is not normally how it has worked.
Yeah, I think it's like last year they wouldn't have. Now it's changed for this year, which is good to see. Like if you do well at a major tournament, it shouldn't matter where you come from. The I guess like the only thing you could argue against would be like, well, we can't go over there and play in their tournaments and
Yeah.
earn invites in their tournaments. Why can they come over here and earn invites in our tournaments? But that's not true for every region under TPC. Like as far as I know, you can go and play in like the tournaments in China, like anyone can. But Japan, you have to be like a resident. So
And sorry, I did misspeak. I want to just I thought I maybe was misremembering this. So, regional and special event champions receive an invitation, and it's all special events this year. And then also the top four at internationals, not just first and second, top four at
yeah.
internationals gets that automatic invite.
Yeah, so they expanded a little bit on the automatic. I still wish they had done a little bit more, but I hope they build on that, like season after season. Like as things get more competitive and bigger and stuff like that. I think it like warrants being expanded upon moving forward. So shows they recognize it. But the major changes that they made from their initial announcement was an adjustment around really just international championships. To be honest,
Yeah.
I guess it is an adjustment around the best finish limit change is around regionals as well, but I think they're doing it with the purpose of combating the impact that internationals can have on earning your world's invite. So they changed the BFL. So regionals, special events, and international championships share a best finish limit this year, unlike they have in the past. Which means if you go to like 3 international championships and let's say 4 regional championships, whatever 5 finishes give you the most championship points will count towards your world's invite, and the other ones are basically lost to the void. Um, but it was at 6 on initial announcement, and now they've changed it to 5, which is interesting. And my initial thought process on that was like, they also made a didn't they? They made a post on Twitter saying we listened to the community feedback, and we're making these adjustments based around that, and continue to give us your feedback. And my initial thought when I saw this was, though, the big thing that people were complaining about initially was like, oh, people who go to all 3 international championships, it's so hard to compete against them if you're someone who can't. And I feel like going down to 5 makes it that much harder. But then I've thought about it a little bit more, and maybe it's just kind of neutral. I don't know.
Well, I think it would have been that much harder if they hadn't also changed the points, because that is
Yeah.
another big thing that got changed here is that, in the previous iteration, internationals were more than double the value of regional championships across the board, like for each point placement. And now it is still weighted heavier, which it should be, right?
Yeah.
But it's more around like 150% instead of like 200% of what it was, right?
Yeah. And it definitely should be. I think that seems reasonable. It seemed kind of ridiculous. Like I think when we talked about it the first time, I was like, this is just a lot of championship points. Like you're just getting a ton of championship points for these placements. And they are more top heavy. Like just comparison across the board, it's more points compared to last season, but it's more top heavy, right? So like getting top what 1,000, getting a top 1,000 at IC is 40 points, and last year was what 20, I think, or was it still 40? Might have still been 40.
Yeah. For top what placement?
Top 1,000 right there.
One, yeah, at internationals. Yeah, I think it probably was around that mark because
Yeah,
it,
so
it this this didn't change. I don't think.
And so those numbers didn't change a lot at the bottom, but as you move up, it's significantly more points than it was last season.
Yeah.
Like getting top 32 is 200 points. I don't know what it was last season, but definitely was not
Uh,
200 points.
yeah, well, and I think a big thing too, it's like it's more the middling championship point results, right? You get 50 points for winning a league cup, and then at regionals, you got 60 points for getting top 32. So if you got like top 128, which was day 2 at a regional championships, you got 40 points, which was less than winning a league cup. And if you got top 32, you got the same amount of points for winning a league cup. Which of those two things is more difficult, winning a league cup or getting top 32 at a regional championships, right? It's like these are two things that just shouldn't even be in the same galaxy. And now
Yeah,
it
and I
is
think
over twice the value.
I do agree with that. And I think they maybe could have gone further. Maybe they could just like bump all regional and international points up by another like 40 or something. Like just to make it or I mean you could reduce League Cup and League Challenge points, but I don't know, 50 is like a good number to work with, it seems like. And
And I
so is
think that
15. So
and to be honest, like these numbers are not going to be that impactful, I would say overall, right?
yeah.
Um 4 league challenges and 4 league cups through the year. I don't think anyone is super upset about this, because it's like seems like a totally reasonable thing, and you have a full year to fill in these finishes, and it's like the difference between a first and a second and a challenge. Like, sure, it would be optimal if everyone who's going for the 125 spots in U.S. and Canada, right? It would be optimal to try to max out both cups and challenges, but it's like you don't necessarily have to do that. Like, if you lock up a couple firsts, a couple seconds, and then maybe a top 4 and then have good regional international finishes, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, the cups and challenges is not going to be like the point of contention. Like you're not going to be you getting your cup wins and challenge wins isn't going to be the difference between you and the next person trying to get their invite. It's going to be your regional finishes for sure. Because almost everyone who's going to go for an invite this year is going to be able to fill those out pretty reasonably. Like even if they're just like top fours and cups, or like 2 wins and 2 top 4s, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4 for challenge finishes. Like that's like a total of like what 50, 60 point difference if you had maxed out for dubs for everything. So
Yeah.
like that's not going to be the difference maker between you getting your invite versus someone else who's being competitive this season. It's going to come down to the regional international finishes. But yeah, the fact that they changed the BFL, yeah, they did reduce the impact that internationals can have. So that is something that it seems like they did listen to the community on, which is good to see. Because like I said, they made that post where they were like, we listened to the community, made some changes. We're continuing to listen, so keep giving us your feedback. The BFL change was interesting because it gives you like less tournaments to compete. So like basically the way the invite system works this year with it being top X instead of just having to achieve a certain amount of championship points, you're now directly competing against everyone else who is competing for an invite. And the people who can go to like 3 international championships, they can fill out their 3 international championship finishes and they can fill out 2 regional finishes. Now, because it's a combined BFL, your regional finishes can compete against their international finishes. And at first, when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is just kind of a negative impact on people who can't go to ICs. But the more I've thought about it, it's almost kind of neutral, and now allows you to go to less majors if you want to fill out your BFL finish. So I feel like overall, maybe this is actually a positive for people who can go to less tournaments. I think like now that I've thought about it a little bit more because you're
Yeah,
still
I think so because it's like whenever they were separate, right?
well,
Uh
not it being separate, just going from 5 to 6 or 6 to 5.
oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, my initial thought process on that was just like, well, now you have one less regional you can go to compete. Like you like basically you have to your it's like your 5 best finishes at majors head to head versus another person's 5. But if they get to go to 3 ICs, they automatically like have like they still need a place at them, but they have an advantage, right?
Definitely.
But now you had like a 6th major that you got to compete against them head to head, and they had to go to a regional to fill out their finish, right? So they had their 3 ICs, but now to finish out the other 3, they have to be regionals. So now you can compete against them with 3 of your regional finishes against 3 of their IC finishes, or maybe you go to 1 IC, so it's 1 IC against 1 of their ICs, and then 2 regionals against 2 of their ICs, and then you could compete against them with 3 of your regional finishes against 3 of their regional finishes. So
Yeah.
you had more tournaments to outplace them at on an equal footing. But now you have less tournaments on equal footing to outplace them on. You only have 2, right? Or let's say everyone goes to at least 1 IC.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have everyone goes to at least 1 IC. So two of your BFL is at a disadvantage because they have 2 ICs and you have 2 regionals. but now you only get to outplay them or outplace them at head to head at 2 tournaments instead of 3 tournaments that were equal. So I don't know. I'd have to like think about this longer. So I don't know if this is like
Yeah,
good or
but it
bad
also
for
could
people
be
who
like,
can.
some of these people, like their IC finishes are going to be, 128, 64, and then 512, right? And it's
Yeah,
like
we're
you
just
can
assuming like on average
outplace,
though.
yeah, yeah, you can out like a good regional finish outplaces a top 128 at internationals, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, I think
Um,
overall it's a fine system, right? And it's like the difference here affects like a pretty narrow group of players, I would say. And it's probably mostly going to be I want to say it's like the I guess it wouldn't make sense for it to be the middling pack of players, right? Um like the people who will be what I was thinking at first is like the people who would be like, rank, 70 to 110, right? I guess it's not going to impact those people really at all, right? Because you're just going to end up in that it's probably just going to be the last like 20 to 15 spots probably
yeah,
where
I
we
think
could
so.
see those things having a big impact. But like I think like the opportunity is like I think it would have been much worse if it was like this original graph that we had here
Yeah,
where it was like 750 points for first, but then down to like top 128 or top 60, like top 64 was 250 points. To outplace that at a regionals, you would have to get top 8. And now to outplace a top 64, you do have to get top 16, but it's like but it's the difference between like top 64 here and then top 32 at a regionals is only
25 points.
25
Yeah,
points. Like it's much more
yeah.
manageable, much more reasonable.
Yeah, I think like the system is like for anyone who wants to be competitive this season, everything is still very much in reach. You just need to push for some big finishes, and I think like the biggest thing that I kind of came to a determination on throughout this whole process would be like the only people I think it's fine to say that the people who I want to be at the World Championships are people who think they can compete for the win, and then uh also I think it's fine for the qualification for the World Championships to be a system where you can't just plateau as a player and coast through the season at the same skill level and get your Worlds invite. Because this system, I think, now pushes people to like a 2 or 3 year possibility of like before you get your first Worlds invite, you need to improve enough to be able to get to that point. A lot of people just like start playing the Pokemon TCG their first season and get their Worlds invite. Like their first year into the Pokemon TCG, like they're competitive players from other games, competitive background. They really want to go for it. They'll end up with their Worlds invite. A lot of them do in their first season.
In the
But
old
now I
system.
think, yeah, in the old system. But in the new system, I think you're gonna it's gonna be like a 2 or 3 year process, which I don't think is inherently a negative thing. And you will have to improve. You can't just plateau at a certain point and expect to get your Worlds invite anymore.
And
And
it
year after
definitely
year, it'll get harder.
And it definitely could be someone who starts playing this year and ends up in the top 125. But the
Sure.
people who that happens to are going to be the people who worked hard for it, right? Who were
Yep.
motivated and grinding and finding, the unique decks to play or whatever, or just, becoming a better pilot of whatever they're playing at a tournament. Like that will definitely happen. Like we will probably see someone get their first Worlds invite ever this year, right? In North
Yeah.
America. Like just statistically, it should happen. Um,
And like in the old system, there were people who were kind of what is like even the term I'm looking for? Pushed out of like the world's invite is not for everyone. It wasn't that the world's invite wasn't possible for everyone last season, based on like time and money. And now it's for less people going into this season because you do have to put in more time and effort. But um you just like for the people who still love and enjoy playing the game, you just have to change your perspective and you need to make, let's say you can only go to 2 regionals a year plus one IC. Those need to be your big tournaments. You need to try your all to try and win those. Because if you top four the IC, Worlds invite. If you, I don't know, if you could top 8 2 regionals, you could be competing for a top 125 slot. You're
yeah,
not competing
easily.
against like, and the thing is to keep in mind as well, you're not competing against the people who can go to 3 ICs and will place in day 2 and maybe even like top 64 at all of them. You're not directly competing against those players. Like you're competing against someone, but it's not everyone, right? The super competitive players are going to be at the top of the leaderboard with a bunch of championship points. You don't have to do better than them. You need to do better than the person who's in 125th place at the worst. Like
Yeah.
that's like that can still be your goal. So still very much in reach. And if you want to be competitive, you can only go to a couple events. You can still make those your big tournaments throughout the year. All right. Well, yeah, I think it's all, and that's all the other changes that were right. It's just around the ICs.
There was another couple of announcements, I think, as well, like that. with the new qualification system, an additional change will be competitors will no longer be eligible to earn a
Oh
round
yeah.
one bye at Worlds. That is a change. As well as someone that had a bye at Worlds this year. I mean, it's obviously a solid advantage, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about this being something that's going to go away?
I mean, I think it's fine with it. I think their reasoning here, I remember reading this, but I forgot this was a thing. Their reasoning here is this change is intended to reduce additional pressure on competitors to push beyond a standard Worlds invite. I think that's silly. I think having like a higher thing for competitors to want to compete for, if that's something they want, I think that's like, what level of babying is that? That's incredible. I remember reading that and thinking the same thing. Like, who cares? Like, if they want to put it on themselves to compete for that, sure, go for it. If they don't want to, they don't have to. It's like actually incredible that. I remember reading that when this first got dropped. That's like an incredible sentence right there or paragraph. Like that's wild. Like you don't need to
Yeah.
babysit other people's mental health in competing in the Pokemon TCG. That's an insane paragraph right there. But I do think for other reasons, the buy, and I thought this going into the World Championships and at the the buy just feels a little weird. Like there's no day one, day two invites anymore, which felt like a bigger separation.
And now
Like
there's
I
no
feel,
tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 invites, which is what they
yeah,
did this past year.
which I think is fine. Like I think we should just all be on an even playing field. I think that's fine. And I think the new system having people having to commit or having to perform a little bit better throughout the season, I think putting us all on the same playing field is fine. I'm comfortable with that. I think they still plan to have travel awards for iSeason stuff, as far as I know.
Yes, yes, it's right here.
So, and then I think if they still did travel awards for Worlds as well, that'd be fine. But I think putting everyone on the same playing field going into the tournament is probably the correct course of action. Because I think it felt a little bit weird going into Worlds, felt a little bit weird at Worlds, the buys, in terms of like not competitive integrity, but as a competition. So the day two buys definitely felt less weird, but there was such a bigger separation with that maybe that's why I felt that way. Um, but yeah, I think it's a fine change, but not for the reason that they said, for sure.
And then one other thing I guess we could talk about, since Worlds has happened. This is nothing in this changed since the first time we talked about it, but now we've had an experience of a tournament in this new adjusted Swiss tournament format, right? Where at Worlds we had 12 rounds of Swiss, which was 8 rounds day one into 4 rounds of day two. For our regional championships, we're most likely going to be in this threshold pretty much always. It is interesting that they added in this 4097 to 8192
It's good
number
to
of
know
participants
though.
threshold. Is this their goal for some of these big ICs? We'll have to see, I guess. But I would assume every tournament this year at this moment, my just a general assumption would be everything will fall in this.
Yeah.
Like this number is probably more future proofing than anything, but you never know. It would be pretty sick. But well,
Yeah.
anyways, more than likely, regional championships this year, what we'll see is 9 rounds of Swiss day one. And speaking, of course, mostly about US and uh, Canada regional championships, and then probably most of the European regionals. Well, I
Some of
guess
them will
that
get
might
up
not
there
be
for
true.
sure.
Yeah, because we did have some numbers, I guess, from their events, which we'll talk about here in a second.
Yeah.
But
I was
for
gonna
US,
say,
US, real quick, just US and Canada, 9 rounds day one into 4 rounds day two. After playing at Worlds, and then also like we will have the asymmetrical cut at regional championships. So how are you feeling about this new format? How is it going to mix things up at our major events?
I think it's fine. I think it just like ups the level of competition. Like you have to play that much better and be that much more consistent. You have less chances, and we're not losing that many rounds to be honest. Because asymmetrical cut, it not quite, but I don't know what could you qualify it as. Does it give it like half a round? So is it kind of like 4.5 rounds?
So we're
There is like
losing one
some,
and a half rounds.
yeah, or we're just losing one round. Is it like a fifth
No,
round?
we would have six
Um,
rounds. We had 6 rounds day two.
yeah, I know, but like, does the asymmetrical cut make up for like a fifth round, like a full round? It gives us something to work with for sure. It's not, it's probably not as good as a round, um, but it's close. So I don't know. So we're not quite losing 2 rounds in day two, but it's round and a half, maybe you'd call it that. But also, if you don't hit that over 2049 number, you are losing that extra round day one, which I'm sure some of the European regionals in Latin America. Well, it depends. It depends how much space they get. I could see, yeah, some of the European and Latin American regionals probably won't hit that mark. And it's
Yeah.
possible some of the American and especially the Canadian ones, maybe like we don't have confirmation on what they confirmed Toronto, I believe, right?
I think Toronto, and I think that was another thing with this update, I guess, is they did
Oh yeah,
announce a
true. We can mention
few
that.
more tournaments.
Quite a
Uh
few, quite a few.
Toronto. Wait. Is it? I guess
Toronto
it's
was
on a different
confirmed.
page. Hang on.
Open PTCG Legends.
I'll
One.
I'll find it here. Just keep talking about this.
Um, so yeah, some of those might not actually be able to get there, but I think overall, yeah, it's just gonna up the level competition. You have to play better. You can't make mistakes. Like you have to like. I don't think it like adds that much more randomness to the to. It does add like it adds some more random. It's hard to think. It's hard to quantify because like players are misplaying and preparing poorly, or they could be playing better and could be preparing better. So can we really say that like it's going to add that much more randomness to the tournament? Like it's not like we have everyone playing perfectly last season. It's not like everyone was playing perfectly last season and was preparing perfectly. Like so there's just you just need to be better. It just means you need to be better. I don't think that's like inherently a bad thing. So I think I'm like kind of neutral on it overall, to be honest. And if it makes tournaments run smoother, the one thing I like about asymmetrical cut is it gives a reason to be a higher seed, right? Because the lower seeds are like going to guaranteed have to play an asymmetrical,
Yep.
probably most tournaments. But if you play for a higher seed slot, then boom, you are
What do you
locked
think?
up. You get a buy.
What do you think the most amount of players we'll see this season is going to be in an asymmetrical cut?
17.
You think it's over 16 at some point? We're gonna have more than a top 16.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 17. Maybe at one of the.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I could see if they give us the space and they hype it up enough, NAIC could reach over 4K. I could see it. That's the only tournament that I think would be able to do it. Though would be NAIC.
Maybe EUIC as well.
It's been getting big. They've been comparable, but I feel like, yeah, I could see it. I could see it. Yeah, I could see it. And there's the space, right? There's the space at the
Excel
Center.
Center, I feel like, is way bigger than the convention center was in New Orleans. The New Orleans one is pretty dang big too, but
Yeah,
the Excel is just it just goes and
there's so
goes and
much.
goes.
There's a lot. There's a lot there. There would be the room for over 4,000 players. And I was gonna say, I don't know if they were listening to me specifically, but leading up to this initial announcement, I was always saying, I was like, I just want to know. I just want to know where the next cutoff is because tournaments are getting bigger. We've had 9+6 into top 8 for a while now, and it's feeling a little bit iffy. What is changing? Where's the next cutoff? So I like that we know until we get over 8,192 players, which isn't going to be for a while. You know, we know what's going to happen. So
Is it going to happen someday?
I'm appreciative of that.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't even know like what. Wasn't there like a 20K Yu-Gi-Oh tournament not that long ago, like a month or 2 months ago, like 20,000 people over in Europe, I think there was.
Yeah.
So I'm just like trying to think about like what is possible. That happened though. So I think it's possible. I think it was 20,000. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! It was in Japan.
Okay.
7,433 attendees registered.
Oh, where did I get 20K from? Maybe 20K people like went to the venue on the weekend.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, there's been, I think like some of the numbers they've said for Worlds in the past has been like over 10,000 people coming through the doors, right?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, we could get up to there maybe at some point. The 8K number, it's possible.
Well, with this, we can talk about some of these early regionals because some of them have already had registration come up, and also registration has come and gone for some of them. Like some of these early tournaments are already capped. Basically all of them actually, because Baltimore over 3,000 players, that's already capped. Louisville, the second North American regionals, 2,300 something players, also already capped. So a bit smaller than Baltimore, a little bit of a bummer.
Probably that might not hit the 2048, 2049, whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely that. Yeah, it probably won't actually.
They could add. I mean, they might add more spots, but yeah, that Louisville will probably be an 8-4, 8-day 1, 4 rounds day 2.
Then you've got Dortmund at 2151, which is not capped at the moment. There is still time if you want to go to the Dortmund Regional Championships over in Europe. And then Lille Regionals, 1,456 players, and it capped basically instantly.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate to hear that number just seems low, to be honest, for sure.
I think I saw someone saying on Twitter that the Lille Convention Center isn't like not massive, maybe.
Yeah. Stuff capping instantly isn't a terrible thing, but that number just kind of seems low. Like not even getting a 2K number for a European regional feels like a miss for sure. I'm curious, how long has Dortmund been up for registration? And how fast did Louisville cap? I'm actually curious about that as well. Did Louisville cap like on the first day? Because I didn't see anyone on Twitter complaining about Louisville capping fast, so I assume it had to have not.
I don't think it capped right away. I don't think it did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Dortmund is still available. I don't remember when Dortmund registration opened, but it's maybe been a week for Dortmund.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the European regionals are getting pretty big. They have it's gonna be 2K plus. That's across all divisions as well for all those numbers for anyone who's curious.
Yeah, not just Masters.
Yeah, so Dortmund will be over 2K total. I mean, maybe they can get the 2K number. Yeah, that's the thing. Like we mentioned, like European regionals might not get there. I think Louisville would have got there if it wasn't capped at 23. So we might see more spots open up, but it might that one actually might just be that one might come in under the 9-4 Swiss rounds. And then I think one's coming up here soon as well. For anyone who's listening and thinking about registering for these tournaments,
Yeah.
September 4th, there was one coming up here. I saw it on RK9.
Yeah, Arcanine tweeted today, I think.
Oh, Gdansk is coming up.
Yeah, and then shortly after, I mean, LAIC and Sacramento are probably just around the corner, within the next 4 weeks.
Yeah. And we are seeing that kind of, that's like 8 weeks out, right? Which is nice to see for
Yeah.
registration time for Gdansk. Yeah, it's got like 8 weeks in advance. It's good to see. And I assume we'll see if that one caps or not. That'll be interesting.
You going?
To Gdansk?
Hmm?
No. It'll be interesting to see if it caps, though. Probably will.
Probably not. All right. Well, let's look at a few of the new products that are coming out at the end of this year. Yeah, this has kind of been just a trend the last couple of years, really. The quality of like the League Battle Deck products and all these things have just gotten so good. It's so cheap to play competitive Pokemon as far as getting the cards go compared to other card games, right? And it looks like that trend is going to continue with a few of these new products that were just revealed. One of them being the Charizard EX League Battle Deck, which right on the front it features 3 Charizard EX, which is already not a super expensive card because it was printed a couple times, but it does also feature 2 Pidgeot EX, which has been a little bit more expensive compared to the other EXs. And then also the big one here, Prime Catcher. This deck is going to be $29.99 MSRP, and Prime Catcher is almost that value right now. Like it's a $25-$30 card as it is.
Yeah. And wait, when did these come out?
This will come out in November 15th. So we're a few months away.
Yeah. I'm like, that's like one thing I'm curious about. It doesn't really affect me. I don't care too much, but I'm curious like when Prime Catcher is going to tank in price because it'll tank at some point, right? When these are about to drop.
Probably
I
not
guess like
until it comes out, right? Because the demand exists for the card
yeah,
until the supply gets, there's
that
more
makes sense.
supply,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool product to see. It's the deck is still relevant, and will be irrelevant for who knows how long. Actually, to be honest, like Charizard could be a meta deck for another year and a half until it would rotate. Or
Yeah,
it's
I
even
mean,
longer than that.
when rotation happens, yeah, like there's not really going to be much that keeps Charizard from, still being decent. I mean, you lose Rotom, right? But that's like
That's not big of a deal. Yeah.
not that big of a deal. The deck will definitely have to change at some point in some way. Um,
They're probably gonna be good for a while though. So I mean, this is like a pretty cool product to see they come out with. Especially sometimes these products I feel like come out pretty close to the cards like actually rotating.
I think they pretty much always try to make sure whatever they put out, like every card in this box is going to have.
It's all Scarlet and Violet cards, right?
Yeah, they'll all like be around for over a year. Like
Yeah.
they try to make sure whatever they put in this, like there's no Rotom in here, right? There's no Forest Seal Stone. Like these cards that people play in Charizard currently, there's no Bibarel, right? Because those cards are going to rotate a few months after this product comes out. They want to make sure this is a product that if someone buys it, they'll get value from it, or like this is a product that'll be on shelves for 6 months, maybe. And so it would be silly for a product like this to be on the store shelf in 6 months and then like the rotation has already happened, right?
I guess I wasn't thinking about them rotating. The one that came to mind was the Palkia deck, but it didn't rotate. Rotation just made it bad, or a new set came made it bad. But Palkia's kind of
Yeah,
coming back around.
it's true.
So was it a League Battle deck that Palkia was in, or was it?
Yeah, it was, but I think that was a while ago because I think that had like Intellion and stuff in it.
Yeah, but Palkia had become bad at that point. I think by the time that thing dropped, if I'm not
It came out like a
misremembering.
little late. The Mew one was probably the best example of the success
Yeah.
potential of those things because Mew was pretty strong all the way up until it rotated, right?
Hmm.
The Regieleki Miraidon one, people didn't end up really ever playing.
But I had Miraidons and generators, right? Which
It
wasn't like
did
a
have
terrible
Miraidons and
grab.
generators, which is good. People just didn't end up using Regieleki VMAX too much.
Yeah, not great, not great.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, like the people who are developing this, like they're having to do it pretty far in advance. One thing that is kind of interesting is the 3 copies of Moltres in here. I mean, they've got to put something in the deck, right?
They're Magma
And
Basin at
it
least?
can't be perfect,
Wait,
right?
wait, wait. Which Moltres is that? Is it the
Well,
one that says when it's damaged, it does more damage?
no.
Oh, which one is this?
What Moltres is that? I don't even know what Moltres that is. It's probably this one. We don't know though for sure.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay,
mean,
that's fine.
yeah. I mean,
I
they got
mean,
to fill it out with something, right?
yeah, it's pretty terrible with Charizard, to be honest, because this Charizard doesn't have that much energy acceleration, so
Yeah.
it
I
can't
mean,
supply.
maybe like a Cleffa could have been put in here, right?
I get a Cleffa in there. If it's the Moltres that says it needs to have damage on it to do more damage. Oh no, but that's not a Scarlet and Violet card.
What are
It's
you
like
even
pre
talking
Scarlet
about? I
Violet.
don't Oh, this one?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. No.
That's what I initially thought of. I was like, what? There's no Magma Basin in here. It's just doing
Magma Basin also
20.
rotates.
Yeah, yeah. So this is only Scarlet and Violet on cards, which is good. Which is good. I think it is, right? It looks like it
Yeah.
is.
And I don't think the idea, like, I don't know. I guess it would be cool if they took a regional championship winning deck and put it in a box and put it on store shelves, right? But it won't stand the test of time quite as much, right? And it's like you can buy this $30 product and then spend another, $10 or so to add cards. Or like, something that someone asked, I tweeted about this product coming out and someone asked on Twitter, like, is this like tournament ready right out of the box? And I said, yeah, it is. And like a realistic
The
thing that
Moltres.
someone could do is you take this league battle deck, open it up, 60 cards, play it to your local league, weekly league. I'm not even talking about league challenge or league cup, just local weekly league. And for playing in your league, you probably get some prize packs. Open up your prize packs. You'll get some good playable cards from your prize packs. You get to kind of,
Yeah.
that's a realistic path for someone, right?
Yeah, cut the Moltres. Number one thing to cut is cut Moltres. But besides, the trainer lineup is pretty good, right? 2 TM Evo, Switch, a Super Rod.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're all just good trainers. It's literally just it's just good trainer cards.
They're muddying it up with like Nimona or Youngster, anything like
Yeah,
that.
it's literally that's all like fine. Like obviously there's better ways. There's a better trainer lineup to play, but that's not bad.
Yeah, definitely solid. So shout outs to TPCI for putting out another good one here. Blood Moon Ursaluna is also getting uh a collection box with a brand new artwork as well. This is not a super expensive card, but just another way to have access to it. But a card that has gotten a little expensive because of how dominant it has been in the metagame is the Teal Mask Ogrepon. This will probably not help the value of the card too much because this premium collection is going to probably be a little bit more expensive. It comes with like a display case, it comes with sleeves. Let's see, MSRP, yeah, is $39.99. So yeah,
Yeah,
Ogrepon will probably still remain around like a $7-8 card
it's
after
not
this
helping
comes
the
out,
pawn.
but it's just cool that there's more options for it to get into people's hands.
If you really want to get a Pokemon product, you want to get a competitive card, the pawn box is a good way to go for sure. Got that. Yeah, it's cool to see them coming out with the products. I guess the coolest one is the Charizard one, right? More competitive products to get people into the game. Hopefully, just see more of that in the future. And they've done a good job
Also,
of it so far, I think, for sure.
you're not seeing the potential of like an Uncommon Energy video of we buy 4 Ogrepon EX premium collections and
An
build a deck with the
Ogre
Ogrepon.
Pawn deck.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. One thing we can add is grass energy and then whatever's in the packs.
Yeah, yeah,
Put it
only
up.
grass energy.
Honestly, that wouldn't even be a terrible idea for the Charizard one as well. Like, it is still a Charizard deck, but it's like, but gotta cut the Moltres, bro. Those things are so bad.
Moltres got to get out of there.
Gotta
Ozo's not a fan of Moltres. All
I'm an
right. Well,
enjoyer.
those are some of the new products coming out. Looking forward to, yeah, just another opportunity for people to get involved in the game. A big part of these too, I feel like, is like, so it does put it on shelves for like, if there's a competitive player who's like always played Lost Box, right? Lost Box is going to rotate. Okay, what do I need to play with the new rotation? Charizard's out. Okay, it's in this box. I'll go buy this at like Target, Walmart, local game store, whatever, right? And now like a competitive player has access to it. But there's also like, grandma, grandpa, mom, dad shopping for their kid for Christmas, get them this battle deck, take them to Pokemon League, they start playing the game. It's just like imagine showing up to League with this compared to like what it was showing up to League in like 2008 with a theme deck, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna
Yeah.
have a much better time now.
No, yeah, for sure. No, it's a good. It's a great way to get people into the game. That something just kind of be there.
Definitely. All right, well, let's move on to everyone's favorite segment, the cast. But of course, before we do have to take a moment to thank our fantastic sponsor, Dragon Shield, for supporting us here at the Uncommon Energy podcast. Of course, Dragon Shield makes some of the best card gaming and tabletop gaming products and accessories on the market. We love them for the sleeves. I got to rock some sleeves at my pre-release that I played at this weekend. You know, it's actually funny. It was kind of nice that the store did this. They had just like a bunch of packs of the ETB sleeves and they put them out on the counter for people to take and use. Uh I was like, I was thinking about it. I was like, I could get some free sleeves to use, or I could just use this pack of 40 Dragon Shields I brought. And then I remembered how terrible the ETB sleeves are. I was like,
Dude,
okay, yeah, I'm going with
wait,
the
so they
Dragon
were just
Shields.
giving them away?
They were, yeah.
Yeah, they're so bad. They can't even sell them. They're just giving them away.
Yeah.
They are pretty terrible. But yeah, shout out to Dragon Shield as always for sponsoring the podcast. Get yourself a discount with the code UEPOD, which directly supports us here on the podcast. And up next, we got Guess That Flavor Text. Chip has extended his lead
Let's go.
by a little bit. It's still within reach. After last week, he got 3 points. What was the Pokemon again? I forget what I.
Breloom. I could have gotten 4
Yeah.
points, but I was playing it safe.
Probably
Kind of
correct,
regret
right?
it, but you know, it's fine. Playing it safe. Playing it safe.
I play a little safe. All right, but this week.
Oh,
it's-
also, I did see a
Go
suggestion,
ahead.
by the way, from the comments, and I think we should start doing this whenever one of us locks in a guess. We should, for the listeners at home, still read off the other lifelines.
Don't we usually do that?
We do only when someone.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. It's like if I use one
When you're
lifeline,
wrong,
lock
we
it
only do
in.
it when they're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. Right.
And they get it right. Yeah, exactly. So we should start doing that. But yeah, it is my turn this week to pick a card for Azul to try to guess. Azul will have 3 lifelines to work with. If he would like to get a little bit of help, the lifelines are what set the card is from, what stage the card is, and read an attack name. I've got a card picked out. Azul, are you ready?
I'm ready, Chip.
All right. It flies so silently through the dark on its 4 wings that it may not be noticed even when nearby.
I mean, that sounds like Noivern. I feel like Noivern has 4 wings. Go ahead, read it to me one more time.
It flies so silently through the dark on its 4 wings that it may not be noticed even when nearby.
Yeah, I feel like that's Noivern, but I'm actually not sure for sure because I think it is. Let's just do the one that would like give me potential confirmation or not immediately. It should be what stage is the card?
It is a stage 2.
Well, now I'm kind of stuck. Well, that's not. So it's not Noivern. I think Garchomp has 4 wings as well, but that'd be like a weird one for Garchomp. Read it to me one more time.
It flies so silently through the dark on its 4 wings that it may not be noticed even when nearby.
I don't know if Garchomp can fly. I think Garchomp can fly. I actually just don't know. It does have like it's got like more like flippers than like wings, but it has like some type of wings. Silently on its 4. It's a stage 2 that flies silently on its 4 wings. What other Pokemon? A lot of bird Pokemon. They all have 2 wings. Noctowl's got 2 wings. Yeah, most of them have 2 wings. Let's go with another lifeline here, I guess. And what set is the card from?
It is from XY Phantom Forces.
Phantom Forces. Man, that doesn't help me too much at all. Man, a Pokemon with 4 wings? Who is it? All right, give me an attack name. Maybe this will help me out.
Skill Dive.
Okay. That still doesn't help me that much at all either.
Think about the cards that were in that set. Do you remember at all?
Phantom Forces? Not really.
It was a pretty good set.
Yeah, but it had like, was that Night March and Battle Compressor?
Those cards
No.
were in that set. Yep.
Yeah. Mega Manetric or no? Mega Manetric.
Mega Manetric was in that set. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, but it doesn't help me figure out what has Skill Dive. It's a stage 2 that has 4 wings. It is a stage 2, right?
It is a stage 2.
All right, give me one more time. Let me hear it.
It flies so silently through the dark on its four wings that it may not be noticed even when nearby.
Oh, it's Crobat, right? Crobat. Just
What are
locking
you?
Crobat. Just
You're
locking
locking
Crobat.
in?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Azul, well done. It is
Oh
indeed
my! Oh, it's the
Crobat.
dude. It's the one too. I didn't even remember Skill Dive, but I was like, no,
It,
that has to be Crobat.
it is the good Crobat. This card was insane when it came out. So many decks played the Crobat and Golbat line because the Golbat had, I read its attack, but Golbat had the Sneaky Bite ability. When you play it from
Yep.
your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. And then Crobat had the same ability, but it was 3 damage counters. These abilities were super strong. Friend of ours, Grant Manley, was like obsessed with bats. He played the bats in like every single deck that he could cram them in.
Yeah, there was the biggest ones were like what Toad Bats and Landy Bats. I think,
Yeah,
or like
those were the
Fighting
most
Bats.
popular ones.
I remember. Oh, was it the last? Man, yeah, I remember like playing a Lucario Bats deck at the end of like the last time there were state championships during
Yep.
that era.
That was when I kind of was starting in competitive. I went to a few state championships and there, yeah, plenty of bat stacks running around.
Yeah, the Vespa Queen Bats. That was also a thing that people did.
Yeah.
Yeah, hella bats, hella bats. Yeah, I feel like I should have got that one. Well, it's
You don't
fine.
really think of these back
Yeah,
wings as
yeah.
wings, with Crobats.
Yeah,
But it
Skill
is a
Dive
wing. His
is
feet are right there. You see those little feet? Look at those things. His feet are tiny. It's like Crobat's kind of a weird looking Pokemon when you really
yeah,
think
he's
about
kind
it.
of just like he looks like a Morpeko with wings, like the way he's shaped.
And his mouth is weird too.
Yeah. Yeah, what is the honestly, he kind of looks like, oh, you know what it is? He's literally like Mr. Potato Head with all the pieces stuck in him. Like the mouth is, you know what I'm saying?
Look at
You know what
this.
I'm saying?
Look at this picture. Oh wait, not that. Hang on. Can I just open this image?
Various
Oh, I opened
emotions of Crobat.
Yeah. Look at this picture.
Oh, what is this? Wait, is that real?
I don't know. It says various emotions of Crobat from Pokemon Battle Revolution.
Cursed, bro. Cursed. Sheesh.
Oh man.
Yeah, but yeah, the skill dive is what gave it to me eventually. So I guess I kind of did have to run through everything.
See, there you go. I had to help you out with think about the set and all that.
Yeah, at first I thought it was Noivern. Like in my head, I could see, but Noivern really, I think he only does have 2 wings. But is it like its tail that maybe looks like it has like some extra wings or something going on? So yeah, initially I jumped to Noivern, but yeah, eventually got there with the set did not help me at all though. The set didn't help me at all.
What are you talking about?
Well, skill dive is literally what gave it to me because there's multiple Crobats have skill dive. I'm pretty sure.
Also, Noivern only has 2 wings.
Okay, there's some big wings though. But like, well, look at the
Those are some big wings.
Yeah, some big wings.
Yeah. All right. Well done, Azul. You get yourself a point. Catching back up 2 weeks in a row of someone getting a point as well. It's been, a little while since we had that. So
Yeah.
let us know down in the comments how you did on this week's Guess That Flavor Text. Did you get Crobat before Azul did?
Probably quite a few people did.
I thought that was a little tricky, but definitely within the realm of something you could get.
Yeah. So up next, we're gonna take a look at what's kind of doing well over in Japan. Before we jump there, though, actually something I want to bring up when we were talking about kind of the structure of everything
Mhm.
and the changes they made was the release schedule for sets this season, and major tournaments that are going to be around those. ICs are not gonna line up with new set releases.
Is that
So,
confirmed?
Basically, yeah, I think so. Yeah, Surging Sparks is supposed to come out November 8th, which is the week before LAIC. So
Mm.
LAIC is going to be the the end of the format, not the beginning of the format. And Sacramento, it seems like it's going to be the first tournament on the first major tournament with Surging Sparks legal. If you go to all the dates are like on justinbasil.com. Look at all the things there, but I don't know if it's confirmed here as well. That would give us the
This is
information for it.
Pokemon's press release site.
They have the date
November
there.
8th. Yep.
Yeah. So it's not going to be legal at LAIC. And then it does seem like for EUIC, in Japan, what is it called? Battle Partners, which are like the trainer cards that were revealed at Worlds. In Japan, it comes out January 24th. But we are once again Gonna have a long format, and we're not gonna get that set plus rotation till March. So we're gonna have a 6-month Surging Sparks format, like we've had the last couple of years of 6-month formats. It's dude, I
How have we
just
not fixed this yet?
I don't know. So EUIC is gonna be February 21st. So we'll have the special
It's the
set.
bulk of the competitive season as well. Like,
Yeah. Like there will be the that is true. That you mentioned, yeah, this 6-month period is like
it's
over
in the
half the
thick of
yeah.
the season.
It's over half of the competitive season is in one long format. It's just terrible. It's just awful. They need like they got to fix this. It's like actually just miserable. So UIC will have the special set, but will not have the next major set or rotation coincide with it. So UIC is going to be a super stale format when it comes around, and LAIC will probably feel fine, but it isn't going to be that same feeling of like a new format, which I think is the ICs felt really good when that kind of lined up. NAIC we don't know yet. I don't think for sure. NAIC will probably line up with a set release would be my guess, but we won't know until
Well, are you going to
later in the
stay
year. I
home from
think.
LAIC to stream the new set?
I think I might. Yeah, that made me think about it.
Dude, no
You mentioned
way.
it. Yeah, so I might skip LAIC.
No way.
I'll do EUIC for sure, but I might skip LAIC because I just it's just not exciting, man. Like it'll be the old set, the new cards will be out. I want to play with the new cards. Have you read Archulodon? It's a stage 1. That thing's broken. I'd rather be playing with Archulodon than going to LAIC to play the same tired format that we had for the last 3 months leading up to it. Or it won't be quite 3 months. It'll be like shorter. The turnaround between Stellar Crown and Surging Sparks isn't as long. Wait, am I doing that right? Surging Sparks. Yeah, the turnaround between it'll be the end of the Stellar Crown format. So we'll only be like 2 months into Stellar Crown, so it'll be like a shorter format. So LAIC will still probably feel pretty fresh. The format for LAIC will still probably feel pretty fresh, but like I don't know. I'll definitely go to UIC because it'll be like a pretty boring time. I'll definitely
Are
want
you
to
going to
compete at
qualify
that
for
point.
Worlds
But
this year, buddy?
I mean, I plan on winning at least one IC this year, so that'll be my invite.
Yeah, you're only going to 2.
That's it. That's all I need. Got to only win one
Well,
of
what
them.
if the same thing happens for EUIC? Are you going to skip that? What if the same thing happens for NAIC? You're going to skip that?
Wait, what do you mean? But it's not going to. We basically already know what's going to happen. Like EUIC is going to be the new set that'll drop before UIC will be the small set, the like the special set in January. That'll be out, but that'll be out for like 3 or 4 weeks before UIC.
Okay.
So like it's not gonna be like fresh. NAIC there probably will be a new set. That'll be my guess is that NAIC will probably have a new set come up with it.
Well, they better, or else Azul's not going.
Like on Justin Basil, it says that these are speculatory, I guess. Still, but yeah, Surgeon Sparks is basically confirmed, and all the speculatory dates or months on Justin Basil are like May for the set before NAIC. So nothing confirmed with those. Nothing's confirmed for EUIC or NAIC, but it seems like that's probably going to be probably going to be the same calendar schedule or release schedule that we had last year, which is just dude a 6-month format. They got to stop with this, bro. It's so draining. It's an L.
Well, it's not
Like,
that long if the new set comes out in January.
no, that's not the new set. That's the special set.
Yeah, but it's a new format.
But the special sets don't change up that much. What do you mean? We've had a special set but the last 2 6-month formats, we've also had a special set in them, and they've still
Well,
sucked.
you know what was a special set? A special set?
Shrouded Fable.
Shrouded Fable. Did it change
Yeah.
up a lot between NAIC and Worlds?
Oh, it did. True. Yeah, but it like like on average, they don't change that much. That's what I'm
Sure.
saying. Like on average, it's going to be another miserable 6 months. I mean, the first 3 months will be fine, but once you get into like the end of the 3rd month, the beginning of the 4th month, it's like, bro, what is going on here? Like this is so boring. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hopeful that the special set does shake things up in January. If this is the release schedule that we maintain, which is the same that we've had the last 2 years. I'm like
Wait,
uh,
will the January set have the owner's Pokemon in them, or will that probably be the March
no,
set?
that's the March set. That's the March set. It's a major set. There might be. It's possible the special set comes out with like the first owner's Pokemon in a promo, right? Like we've had in previous
Yep.
years. So we could have like the first owner Pokemon will be a promo in a box or whatever. These are speculatory dates. Like it says here on the site here on Justin Basil. By the way, a great resource for anyone who's looking for more resources to keep up with the Pokemon TCG, justinbasil.com. But I'm not hopeful. I want it to be different, but I'm not hopeful. We'll see though. The only thing that's confirmed for sure is that Surging Sparks will not be legal at LAIC because we got the official date for that.
I wonder what happens because, like, I'm sure that that was a target, right? That it would be released and legal for that tournament. I almost
ICs?
wonder if they would make an exception or change the rule to allow it to be used, right?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that messed it up was the lack of OCIC. I think it's made them shift their schedule this year a little bit for sure, probably, right?
Yeah.
Like they're like, well, we want to like have not such a big gap of a no IC where OCIC used to be. So we're gonna push EUIC back, right? And they have push it back, not like, well, I mean, what is the date for NAIC? We already have that, right? It's
Yeah.
June, right?
Yeah.
So it's what that's 4 months basically between a little bit less than 4 months between EUIC and NAIC. And it like once again, with if we look at the Justin Basil potential release schedule that they have up there, May would be when Scarlet and Violet 10 drops, which would be which means it would probably line up with NAIC for so a new set for NAIC, but I don't know, just feels mid. If that's what we're looking at again, going into the end of this year, beginning of next year. That's all I want to bring up because we were talking about like the other stuff earlier. I thought I'd like bring that to light
Yeah.
because some people are probably expecting, some people are probably just like assuming that's going to be same old for major set releases around ICs, but it's going to be probably different this season. Well, it's definitely different for LAIC. We'll see if
It
it's
felt
different
like it
for
did it. Was it at Worlds where Obsidian Flames came out the weekend of Worlds? Is that right?
yeah, like the week
Yeah.
before.
It was like I feel like obviously they were intending for it to line up and it just somehow doesn't line up. Like, how does it fall that short? Or maybe, or
Yeah.
possibly, maybe it's just like not even in the plan and it's just been a happy coincidence that it's happened like that.
Yeah, I mean, is it like, do they just have projections for when the sets should be released? They're just
Yeah.
asking ChatGPT, "Yo, when is the best time to release these sets?" And ChatGPT's like, November 4th, no, November 8th. Like, is that what's going on here? Like, I don't know. It feels like such a miss. It just feels like I don't know. Like, I feel like, but it's been this way for like the last 3 years now, and I've heard people like speculate that like COVID was part of the initial weird transition between set releases
That
between
like
us and
threw it
Japan.
off.
Yeah, but now it's almost gotten worse. It's like gotten like steadily worse over the last 3 years. Like the last 2 years have been basically the same, but this season feels worse almost than those. Maybe it is the same, and I'm just taking more note of it now because I'm keeping more up to date with what's releasing in Japan and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
I don't know. But yeah, let's talk about some of these decks that are winning. They're winning gym battles over in Japan, which are basically like league challenges, or like maybe even just like they're even like more local tournaments than that. Like, um,
Yeah,
but
can you like
they've
get
been.
I don't know, they don't have do they have the equivalent of points and stuff like
No,
that?
I think you only get points at city leagues. I don't think you get them at gym battle.
Yeah.
So it's basically just locals. But yeah, for anyone who's another great resource, pokecabook.com. And then if you can't speak Japanese, use Google Chrome to translate it to English, and it's pretty easy to navigate
Yeah.
the site from there.
So this is a list of just some of the decks that have won these tournaments. Don't like we don't know exactly the size and stuff of these events, right?
Yeah, we don't know the size of them. Oh, I think they might all be like capped at the same because like all city leagues are capped at 64 players, I
Well, this is kind
think.
of interesting because this just linked to the. So I click on this link, it sends it to the official Pokemon site. Like this is the official Pokemon. So like, do all of the league winners automatically get published on the Pokemon website? And
Maybe.
this
I
site
mean,
just like scrubs the Pokemon site and
that would make a
puts
lot
them
of sense.
in an easier to view place.
That would make sense. Maybe they submit their deck list there for tournaments.
Yeah.
Could be what it is. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Having all the information on like one hub to eventually look at. Something that's definitely lacking on Pokemon.com.
Yeah, register my deck. Like you can
Wait, what happens if you click the display deck list image? What does that look like?
the one that they post.
Oh, okay. I was wondering how it would pop up though.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of small. But yeah, so Armor Rouge, we're not getting
White
this
corners and
set
all. White corners and all. You see that?
actually.
Yeah.
Dude, they gotta fix that. Come on, bro. Dude, for the production this
White
year,
corners.
they have to get rid of the white corners. Come on. Come on. They also need to
Like,
get a better top-down camera. They need to up the quality of the stream over in Japan across the board.
yeah.
Bro, let me get back there. Let me get behind put
See
me in the director chair or something. I'll be back there cutting corners, bro. Cutting those white corners off the
Oh my
PNGs.
Oswald with his scissors backstage.
Well, they're not PNGs. They're JPEGs. They're using JPEGs. They should be using PNGs. They need to get rid of the white corners. What's going on here? Make a transparent background. I'll do all the cards.
Well, these first couple lists here are Cyrilege EX decks.
Oh, I called him Armor Rouge. Yeah, Sarah Luge. Which we're not getting till Surging Sparks, but they have just gotten access to this and Sylveon
Yeah.
recently. We still take a look at them. For anyone who doesn't know what the card does 20 damage for each energy in your discard pile. Here it
30
is.
damage plus 20 more.
Oh, okay. My bad. Or just one fire.
Yeah. And then it's got that new ace spec in here, which lets you just discard 5 cards from your deck.
Yeah, this list, the second list down is playing the Terra Tool instead, so you can use the second attack.
Yeah, and
You
this
like-
card is coming out in our next set.
Yeah, so you can like turn 280. What is the second attack? What's the effect of the second attack? Can you just like not use it next turn or something?
Yeah. Discard
Or-
all energy.
discard all
cards
energy.
Pokemon.
Yeah, so you get like that one big 280 hit, and then you probably just use the first attack from there.
Yeah, it's probably pretty good.
Yeah, so that card's gonna be interesting.
And this one's got 4 Carmine in it as well, like just trying to dump the hand, get through the deck, Squawkabilly.
That one's super straightforward. The other list above it has a little bit more going on for like the support Pokemon. Like there's Mew and Pheasantipity and the Illumise and a Tatsugiri.
Brother, Illumise, excuse you.
Oh, my bad. Illumise.
Which, yes, that is actually how you say that Pokemon. Yeah, that's kind of an
Ye-
interesting card to see teched in here. You can only use this attack if you go second, and only during your first turn. Shuffle one of your opponent's benched Pokemon and all cards attached to it into their deck.
Yeah, I've like theorized that card a little bit. Another card, and this one does have the 4 Jet Energy. A card that might even be a little bit better is the Screamtail EX, which says if you go second and you for a colorless energy, your attack says your opponent can't play a supporter next turn. Which does seem pretty decent to be honest. Shutting that down from your opponent when you're a deck that can't do anything on your first turn anyways. Like, I don't know. I've been waiting for this card to come up and be good. Maybe with
and then like when your
Ledge.
attack only costs 1 energy, right?
Yeah, like your energy attachment being in play. If you have a bunch of other liabilities in play, like those things don't matter. So this might be the time. Screamtail, Sarah Ledge.
Is it time for
Yeah.
Bombardier?
No, there'll never be time for Bombardier.
Oh, come on. Fast Carrier?
Go first. There's already another Pokemon that does this though, right? It's the opposite of Illumise. What's the other one?
No, Volbeat.
Yeah, Volbeat.
Oh, is it it's only 2 Pokemon though, I think. But yeah, you're right.
If you go first,
Yeah, if you go first, you can use this attack during your first turn.
search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, put them onto your bench. There it is. It's not a 2-prize Pokemon, so I feel like Volbeat's got the edge.
Yeah. I mean, all right, it's got
Unless
the
Pokemon,
coordinated
though.
strike. You play the 1-2 punch, 80 for 2.
Yeah, you
Hold
got something
up.
good to do if you go first, something good to do if you go second.
But then you have to play both of them.
All right, it's worth it.
This one is kind of funny to see. I remember being kind of excited about this card whenever it got revealed. The Conkeldurr.
Dude.
It's sick, dude.
No, it's Conkeldurr.
Conkeldurr.
Dude.
Conkeldurr. I actually don't know for sure. It's probably Conkeldurr.
We got Chip on this one. We got him. I know the comment. Dude, the
Bro,
comments are
I just don't know this one. I just don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so we'll go with Conkeldurr. I think. Let us know in the comment section. What do you prefer, Conkeldurr or Conkeldurr? I think I know people in the comments get tired of you correctly pronouncing Pokemon names. So
Well, it's just because they're sad they don't know how to pronounce them.
Yeah, this card is actually like not. I mean, it's not terrible. If you're affected by special condition, you attack for what? No energy. Actually, that's right. 0 energy for 250. Well, it's a Sage 2 and it's got low HP, so you gotta set them up turn after turn after turn. I don't know. Yeah, so the decks that win these tournaments, like they are like local tournaments, right? So they're not always gonna be the most competitive decks that we see here, but we did actually see this on round 1 of the Japan Championship stream. Made its way on stream round 1. It didn't win. Actually, I don't even think I set up a Conkeldurr.
I was
So
trying to
maybe round
listen
2.
to the anime. I was trying to listen to the anime to see hear them say Conkeldurr or Conkeldurr or whatever, but I didn't get it. I'll
Alright,
have to
good.
find a better clip. All right. But yeah, anyway, sorry. I was I don't know why I did that. I just like checked out from listening to anything you were saying.
You
to try to listen to
You
the
just need
YouTube
to know the
video.
correct pronunciation. You have like an
Yeah,
obsession.
yeah,
Shit.
I gotta say
Yeah.
it right. All right, but yeah, this card, 180 HP, stage 2.
Next, I already talked about it. We're going next.
Sorry.
Next.
Well, bro, it's sick though. You got the poison.
Let's talk
Loki.
Terrapagos. This is actually a deck that we're getting access to here soon.
Okay.
And this is like there's like 2 different ways people have been playing Terrapagos, I feel like. And this seems to be the one that I've seen more of actually recently is like this
Why are these images
tank
so low
build.
quality?
I don't know, like a tank build of Terapagos. You got the
Yeah.
Terapagos, a 4-3, dude, 4-3 Noctowl and Pidgeot. Like you're just getting anything you want every single turn.
Yeah, the Noctowl is kind of interesting. So I think it's obviously going to be good, but like I don't know that it'll quite get to what Inteleon was because one, we don't have Scoop Up Net, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
We don't have Irida as like the engine to chain everything all together, right?
A fan
But
roadie though.
we've got the Rotom to like go get your Noctowl. Like we've got a pretty solid setup here as to and the game if like you can if you can afford to have the 8 bench spaces, right? You can go get yourself, rare candy featherball to go get Pidgeot in play. Like that's a sick combo right there. That's kind of
Yeah.
insane. Yeah, this deck seems pretty cool for sure.
And then you got the Buffalant, which says if you have another Buffalant in play, your colorless basic Pokemon takes 60 less damage. So Terapagos goes from 230 to effective 290. Raver Charm or the Hero's Cape gets involved, and we're looking at 300 plus HP on
Yeah.
that basic Terapagos that's swinging for 220 damage. So it's basically like a tank build of the deck. There's a Penny, there's a Charon's Care. So yeah, it's like tank Terapagos is this build. This is what I've been seeing, I feel like, more recently.
Why is there not
For
a
Terapagos.
Ursaluna in here too?
Maybe you don't need to hit that much harder. It's only a little bit harder that you're hitting, right?
Yeah, it's got a lot more HP.
Oh,
Like
true.
30 more HP.
It's that much bigger, yeah. I don't know, maybe it just doesn't make a difference at the end of games. But maybe it does. Maybe they just kind of missed
There's
out on
also not
that.
a Briar in this list, which feels like something you should definitely play.
Yeah. I mean, this list specifically doesn't have counter catcher, so you only have boss. You don't have prime, so it'd be hard to combo the Briar at the end of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Briar is what opens up a lot of potential for a lot of these decks. Another deck that's been seeming like it's going to be pretty popular, at least early on, most likely. Like you said, it does feel like it's fallen off a little bit in Japan. But that is the Origin Form Palkia V-Star. Of course, a Pokemon that does more damage for each benched Pokemon in play, seeing new life now 3 years later almost because of the new stadium card being released.
Yeah, so now you can fill up your 8 bench. So you're looking at what, 160 there, plus you're doing 220 flat if you have a full bench. And if they have no bench Pokemon and you care their only active Pokemon, you win. And then for each bench Pokemon they got, you're doing that 20 more. So your opponent still has some control, but it's not as much control as they used to have because you can just do so much flat from your side of the field. So, and Palkia was winning a lot in the early releases of Stellar Crown. But we saw right here in this result page, the way the results here are on this page, it's like every deck is all the wins for each deck are in the row, and there's only one Palkia dub here right now. And I feel like I've been seeing less and less Palkia dubs when I've gone back to check these gym battle results. So and that's what I hate about us being released so late after Japan. We didn't go through the meta development of Palkia is broken. We're all playing Palkia again. We might like be slotted in, this many weeks out, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
Palkia is actually not that good. We're back to Charizard now. There's a decent amount of Charizard dubs here.
I wonder if a Charizard Area Zero deck could be good, and instead of Pidgeot, you had the Noctowl
Noctowls.
engine.
Maybe. The thing is, it's hard to get the Area Zero online early because you have to wait till you have a Charizard to
Right.
play.
You maybe would have to still play some basic Terra Pokemon, which I guess wouldn't not be very good.
They're only getting like effectively 2 bench spaces to work with. But maybe it would work with Charizard. Like maybe you would go like turn 2 Candy Charizard, blow up your bench, and then from there you can just consistently do whatever you want every turn after
Oh,
that.
no, it would probably be fine because when your Charizard gets knocked out as well, you just discard the Noctowls you've used, right?
Yeah. Or any like the Rotoms and Luminion that you maybe use early on.
Next stretcher, use them again.
Back the Noctowls?
Yeah. You got a Hoot in play.
No, I don't have a Hoodoo in play.
Bro,
KO'd it.
Hoots in play. I think that this is one of the this list. Why do neither of these lists have a Briar? I feel like that's like a lot of the potential threat with Charizard in this next set is like the combination of Charizard, Briar plus Dusknoir. Like
I actually don't think Briar's not as good as I've used it. When I first read Briar and kind of like I was understanding the potential of it or like the possibilities, I thought it was really, really good. But revisiting the thought process of Briar, I don't think it's that good. I think the card's good, but I think it's a little bit more situational than at least I initially thought. With Dusknoir, obviously, there's going to be some good
Yeah, like
combinations,
this
like you
feels like the
mentioned.
perfect deck for it.
Yeah, I mean, you have counter catcher too, so you can like Gust plus Briar in the same turn.
Yeah.
I know Jake Gearhart on Twitter has been hyping it up recently.
Oh
The
yeah.
next Doomsday is upon us with Briar.
Yeah, this list is cool because they've got the A-Spec Stadium here to just go get Dusknoir set up in one turn.
We have to wait a turn still on the Duskull. Like you
Right, right,
gotta,
right. But you just go get it all. Like you get the
yeah.
whole line, which is kind of cool.
It's curious that there's not a Pidgeotto in this build if you're playing the tree though. That's weird. That's
Oh, that's
curious.
another good point. Yeah. Wait, can you go into a rule box Pokemon?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it just gets anyone.
The card's pretty dang good.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know what's gonna be able to take advantage of it immediately. Like we see it in that Charizard list, but we saw it on Fair Stamp at the other build. So
Yeah. I could also still see Prime Catcher just being good in Charizard as well.
especially in Briar builds, to be honest. Like,
I
not
think
even
this is
Doom.
the easiest application from our current meta into the new meta would just be taking Raging Bolts and throwing Area Zero in the deck. Just go wide
Yeah.
with your bench, right? And then if they bump your stadium, you get to discard Squawkabilly. Like you can get rid of that liability a lot easier than you could have previously.
Yeah, that might be kind of that and that's what I've actually been thinking about recently is like area zero decks where you just need to go wide one turn and then it doesn't you don't care from there on out. You like you got everything you wanted in play, you fully abuse the access to the H bench spots, and then almost your opponent bumping your stadium, it helps you more than hurts you. And now you just have like a completely perfect board because you got to go wide for just one turn. And
Are
yeah,
there
like
any
Raging
other
Bolts.
bench sitting Pokemon that can draw you cards like Squawkabilly super aggressively? Just like Mew and Pheasantipity, I guess. I guess
Yeah.
Pheasantipity's not aggressive, but
Yeah, not really. But yeah, Pheasant would stick around later on.
right.
And then this deck has Briar as well in the Raging Bolt deck, which
I mean, that
I
seems
mean
less
makes
good.
sense. Well, I mean if your opponent tries to lock you out of the game with Radzard, I guess it'd be hard to get an Ogerpon big enough to do it. But you could also go like Briar Gust like a Charmander off the bench, right? And then bop it
Sure, sure.
your last two.
Yeah, it's got 4 catchers, right? So you can make that happen. Yeah, because that's something Charizard will do sometimes is like go with the one prizer board. This gets around the one prizer board, right?
Yeah, they can't go full one prizer on you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because obviously if they still have like a Pidgeotto or Pidgeotto X in play or like a Rotom or something, that could be your last two prize cards. You don't need to go the Briar route, but now if they can consistently play to that one prize board, you have an out. You got a route.
We'll see a Guardy list, a Regidrago list.
Oh, that would even be another matchup. Honestly, the Guardy matchup where they can like Turo their Guardy EX out of play. Now you just go, okay, cool. Ogerpon KO, you're active.
Sure.
The Briar.
The
Honestly,
Briar Tech.
Briar definitely feels the more like I don't think it's gonna be as impactful as I thought it was gonna be. But the more I've thought about it, the less I like it because it also like locks out one prize decks. Like it doesn't lock them out, but it's like do one prize decks really need to struggle more than they have been? I don't think so. Um Briar feels like an unnecessary card to have made.
Mm.
Honestly, the more I think about it. Speaking of unnecessary as well, because I actually just discovered this the other day. Do you know what Rotom's attack does? The fan Rotom?
The Fan Rotom. Yeah, 70 damage, discard a stadium in play.
I think it's 70 damage if there's a
Oh,
stadium
if
in
there's a
play.
stadium in play. Yeah, yeah, you're
That's
right.
just unnecessary, right? Am I
Yeah,
like
for 1 energy.
why does like a Terra deck that's gonna take advantage of all these Terra things and also be able to KO my Charmander turn one? Like,
Yeah, it's a little silly.
yeah, I actually hadn't read its attack up to this point. I feel like until like a couple days ago, and then when I read it, I was like, this is just why
Well, a
this
lot
is
of people aren't
disgusting.
even they're not even playing to use it though. Like this list literally has 4 double turbo energy, right?
50 HP Pidgey's done. He's cooked though.
Sure, but is anyone playing 50 HP Pidgey right now?
I'm trying to call for the fan, bro. Get him in here.
Everyone's playing 60 HP Pidge.
They're trolling. They don't have any.
That was the truth at Worlds too.
Well, that was because of why was that?
Regidrago.
Yeah, because of Richard Drago.
And what do you know? It's still here.
Which one? Yeah, the after looking at the early gym battle results, these recent gym battle results honestly have been a little disappointing because at to begin with it was like, oh, Galvantula, these Palkia decks, and now when you scroll through, it's like, oh, Charizard, Regidrago, Lugia.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't
More
know.
the
That's a little
same.
disappointing.
Regidrago seems like a good user of Crispin. That's a card I've been excited for. You've been not as excited for it as me, but
It's Crispin's chill. It's like a
Yeah.
solid card. It's a solid card. Yeah, I could see it to be honest. That is like a decent amount of energy acceleration and that's one of the things that Drago like doesn't struggle with, but like when you're going for those like back-to-back Kyurem turns, like that like solves your problem with that. Like that extra energy is huge. Of course, you aren't playing like a research return, so you need a little bit more in your hand, but it can help you get over that hump.
There's a Lugia V list here, which is kind of interesting because it is still playing Legacy Energy, not playing the new A spec that discards 5 cards from your deck.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's really hard to go against Legacy, right?
They've got Erezu in this list as well.
Well, that can't be real. That's definitely fake.
Huh? It's better
should
than
just
well, it should just be Jack because Jack
Oh,
gets
but it gets
you.
us 2 chops and a Chinchino.
It does, but it doesn't get Lugia V Star,
2
which is
chops
kind of a big deal.
and yeah, it's probably better to be able to get the Lugia V-Star. I think you're right.
Yeah. This guy was cooking though. And speaking of cooking, we got
Overcooked.
Origin Form Dialga V Star
I
with
actually
the
just hit
tree.
this. I hit this deck on ladder earlier when I
Yeah,
was
what this
streaming.
deck, Hedrick came out of nowhere, won with this deck, and
Dialga.
then it was around a little bit, but it fell off pretty hard.
Well, it definitely got worse moving forward to the next tournament. And then what happened immediately after that? We got a new set, right? We got
Yeah,
new,
Teal Mask Ogrepon came out.
yeah, Raging Bolt. Like the aggressive decks like Raging Bolt are tough to deal with. I think Hedrick even said, I remember talking to him at Indiana, and he was like, the Lugia matchup is even tough. Like anything that can just KO Lugia V or Dialga V turn 2 is kind of annoying.
Yeah,
And especially when they can KO turn 1, like Raging Bolt's even worse, right?
right.
Um,
But with the stadium is pretty cool. You go get your Matang throughout the game, and then at the end
oh,
of the
true,
game,
yeah.
if it stays in play, you get the Dusknoir, which this has in line, has a line in the deck, right?
Yeah. Cool. It's like a cool combo deck now. You're definitely taking
Yeah.
your time chilling.
Couple of ancient box lists. This is a deck that's been popping up a lot in our current metagame. Will probably be pretty popular at Baltimore, I'm gonna predict.
Yeah.
We'll scroll through another page of these real quick. A
Ancient
Golden
Box has like
Go.
I was gonna
Hold
say with
on.
that, Ancient Box has like a crazy like target on its back. I don't know if it's as good as like, the deck's fine, but
Bro, this combo is insane.
they're cooking. Is that it?
Golden Go plus Saraledge.
Plus Noctowl.
Plus Noctowl. Golden Go, discard your energy cards. Saraledge, clean them up later.
Yep. No energy recovery in
Wait,
this
look at
one.
this supporter lineup. 4
Dude,
Adaman.
I feel like there's always like cheesy Adaman decks coming out of Japan. I feel like they just like there's like the ones in the past have been like the Magnezone deck that had like you'd use Marion to find your Magnemites and like a Rotom
Yeah.
turn 1, and you'd
Yeah,
Adaman
yeah.
with Dialga turn 2. Um,
I
yeah,
mean, this is a powerful effect on a supporter, getting any 2 cards, right?
yeah,
But the powerful effect is locked behind this ridiculous requirement of having to discard 2 metal energy from your hand.
too much. No one has two metal energy in their
It's
hands.
not well, you say that, but then you look at this list and you see 3 Earthen Vessel and 4 Letters of Encouragement.
The 4 letter is wild. I feel like you'd want.
Letter, a card you can only play on your first turn going second, right?
Oh, it's when you get knocked
Oh,
out.
when something gets knocked out. Yeah, and then you search your deck
Yeah,
for up to 3 basic energy cards, reveal them, put them in your hand. I was thinking of Energy Spinner. I was going a little too far
yeah.
back.
Honestly, broken. I'm down. Letter of encouragement. I'm locked.
Insane.
Crazy.
Wait, why is there so many Saraledge decks? Wait, why is there so many Saraledge decks?
It's broken, man.
It's
Broken.
all Saraledge. Look at that.
A lot of them have the mixer. Most of them have the mixer, it
Holy
looks like.
cow.
Maybe it's
Turbo
just broken.
Saraledge. What the heck?
I don't get how. Oh yeah, because I guess it's like, is it? So if we're
This
like
one
an
has 21 energy cards in it. 20 energy. 18 energy.
if you're
20
in like
energy. What is
if you're in
happening?
like an aggressive format, then playing something like Sarah, if Sarah is like better Golden Go, where it's like one reason that Golden Go like feels like it has an advantage sometimes against stuff like Raging Bolt is because all your Pokemon to begin with are 1 prizers, right? So they can't get that first 2 prize knockout. You can kind of do the same thing with Sarah Ledge theoretically,
Yeah, but you gotta put Squawkabilly in play.
but you don't have to. It's on the
True.
bench too. Maybe they whiff,
True.
but
Bro, what? This guy's got Zamazenta V-Star in this deck.
see, this also might just be early format stuff where it's like the meta's undiscovered, everyone's trying out new stuff, and then by the time we get the set, Sarah Ledge is garbage. Like, and we never had even though it was garbage, even if we got to play with it, like we would have at least been able to experience that and like have some enjoyment out of that. But now it's gonna be like the meta's gonna be too developed and it's like been phased out.
Yeah.
We don't get the Sarah Ledge moment.
Yeah, I don't know how much there is to extrapolate from
Oh,
this.
there is. Because I know you were a fan of. If you scroll up, I saw a couple of Azumarill decks. I know you brought it up, but that's not until
Oh, this
Surging
card's
Sparks as
definitely
well.
broken.
And they're the Terra Pokemon they're using is the Ogerpon to try and make it so it can't get KO'd.
It does 250 damage for 1 energy. This card has to be insane.
You're right, it's broken.
On a stage 1, that's a 1 prize Pokemon?
We don't get this till Surging Sparks though, right?
Is that right? Yeah, maybe so.
I think so. Yeah, so I mean, there's not too much. Honestly, like what you were about to say, I think is that there's not too much to take away from this for like Stellar Crown coming up, but it's kind of cool to see what's on the horizon. I guess a little bit, but it's always away for us. We're still like 2 months out.
Everyone's just gonna be playing Ceruledge at Sacramento.
Terraledge mirrors.
It'll be just like the.
Does it have a weakness?
It'll be just like the. Yeah, it's weak to water. Just like the Garbodor regionals, the famous Seattle regionals, where every single deck in day 2.
See, and that's one of the problems. Like Briar is actually such a terrible card for like potential meta development because like if we go to a bunch of 2 prize decks, then that becomes the moment for 1 prize decks to thrive. But because of Briar, it messes up the prize trade probably so much that it maybe it's not impossible for 1 prize decks to exist, but it makes it way more difficult. You know?
Sure.
So yeah.
A lot of these decks do have the Briar, it seems like.
Yeah, that's just an unfortunate card, to be honest. The more I've like thought about it, the fact that it exists is just unnecessary.
Yeah. There's a good mix of stuff here. I don't know how much there is really to extrapolate from this because once again, these are not massive tournaments, right? This Charizard list has the Briar in it, but also has maximum belt. So I don't know how much
They have everything in there. That's like a bunch of one-ofs.
Yeah, that one's kind of crazy. But yeah, just like I guess kind of a sneak peek into what the potential future is. Oh, hold up, Crispin's best friend, Dragapult, and there's only 1 Crispin in this list.
Well, I mean, I think you need to do it once most of the time, right? Like that should be enough.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Theoretically, maybe 2, maybe play 2, but they also have the Terra Crystal as well.
True.
So, which that seems like it's probably the most consistent aspect in Dragapult. Like it's probably better than Neo Upper. You're just like your access to it through Arven is just so high.
Yeah. All right, Azul, anything else you want to say about these decks, these lists?
I think I'm good. Honestly, this was kind of a not disappointing podcast, but like the amount I thought about like the future of the Pokemon TCG over the next like 6 months or 8 months is like it's like Japan is so far ahead of us. We're gonna have a 6-month format, no new sets for the ICs. Get us out of here, Chip. Get us out of here.
I'm going to get us out of here and into the bonus episode. Thanks so much to everyone for listening and showing that support as always. If you're going to Baltimore, we're going to be talking about Baltimore on next week's episode, talking about the current meta and how we expect things to change for Baltimore. Probably do a Q&A over on the Twitter. I think we talked about that. So be sure to follow us over on Twitter, myself at ChipRitchie, Azul at Azul_GG. You can also follow the podcast at Uncommon_Energy. We're going to put out a poll next week sometime to take some questions for people headed to Baltimore regionals.
Yeah, appreciate the support as always. Remember, if you want access to the bonus episode, they are available now here on YouTube. If you want to become a member to get access to those or just support us here, check that out. There should just be a join button under the YouTube player somewhere. Just click the join button. You can become a member that way. And catch y'all next week, Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern.